We're live. To the state.
Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm host Emirates Jr. and I'm joined with two special guests today. We got Coach G, and we got up and coming fighter, Right Hook Roxy. How's it going?
Hello, good, good. Just got out the gym right now.
Nice. And Roxy, welcome back. I had a look to see the last time we interviewed you, and it was before your pro debut back in February 2023. So it's been a while.
Yes, it's been a long but short road at the same time.
Given that you're four fights into your pro career, the first question I got for you is just how are you finding that transition from the amateur to the pro game now?
Definitely, since I did do the TCL before I did officially turn pro in February, I was kind of used to it. But I mean, just the rounds, the experience. It's definitely, I have to change my style a lot more, but not as bad because I've always had like a certain skill set. So it hasn't been too hard, but I would say the business and everything that the fans, everything's just a completely different world.
Absolutely. And then Coach G, you've been in the boxing game before Roxy was even born. Could you tell us what
Yes.
got you into the sport? What was your start, and when did you decide you wanted to be a trainer?
Oh well. One day I was baking cookies, and I just thought, forget the cookies. I just want to be a boxer. I'm just kidding. Well, no, I come from a family of legendary kickboxers, and we have boxers as well as in my family, and so Roxy is pretty much the fourth generation female fighter in our family, and that was our school, like our playground, and our when our parents were training at the gym, we had all the kids, and we had to, I guess. To make the class and kickboxing class and boxing classes look full, I had a lot of cousins, and so, we were just always in the gym. We had to join like every class just to make the classes look really full. So all the other kids would be like, that's cool, let's do it too. So yeah, I have a long history in boxing.
Nice. And then Roxy, as we mentioned, you're 4-0, and I looked at the 19 professional rounds you fought, and on record with the judges, you've only lost one of those 19 rounds. So you've been near perfect in every fight. What do you attribute, kind of winning those fights so convincingly?
Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did you say the last
Like
part?
what would be kind of like one of the factors, with your fighting style that makes you win those fights so convincingly?
I can adjust to the fighter I'm fighting. The fighters I have been fighting, their styles are very different in a sense, and they're a lot bigger. So, it's just adjusting, to be honest, and controlling the ring. Whoever throws the first punch is going to win the round. Whoever closes the round is going to win the round. And obviously we fight 2 minutes, so you have to really like put the pressure in, but also be careful on what you're doing. I would say like back, my first fight was 4 rounds. The other three were six. So now I'm jumping into eight. So I feel like I can think a lot more, take my time a lot more. But I would say just trying to be dominant throughout the whole fight from the beginning to the end. You started strong and you finish strong.
And if she wants water, she better throw punches.
Yes, that too.
There you go. We have a few like comments here. We got Skyrocket Boxing Media says much love from Albuquerque. It says great
Thank
coach and
you. Shout
fighter.
Thank
out to
you.
Albuquerque.
Shout out to Albuquerque. And then we got my co-host Sports and Tunes says let's go. Saludos to the dynamic duo. Roxy, keep getting that badass
Hey.
sparring experience with Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Can you share a little
The
bit about that
secret's out.
experience? Since
Oh, it
the
was
secret's
amazing,
out.
man. It was amazing. She's out of all the female fighters, all the fighters I've really met, she's like the most humble person I've met. Right next to Manny Pacquiao, simple life, simple. She's just very simple and very just a great person. And she told me, I wish I would have met you 2 years ago so I could have had you for sparring, but unfortunately the message wasn't read when we did send one out, miscommunication. But she said I was really great sparring for her and really great work, and for me as well, like getting in there with pretty much a living legend, especially for women's boxing. She's like the most humble person I have met. And his coach, sorry,
Ross.
her coach Ross, just great people all around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I almost didn't say hi to her because I just saw one person carrying a gym bag, and I'm expecting cameras, entourage. A lot of people like to run around like that. A team, and I turned around and I kept walking, and then I opened up the door and she's like, "Hi," and I was like, "Oh, hi." I
Yeah.
wasn't starstruck. I was just more like, how did I miss her? Like, God, Jesus, I felt so bad. But again, she's very, like Roxy said, she's very humble. She's a nice person. To me, she reminds me of Leo Santa Cruz, the female version. You know, Leo Santa Cruz
Mm-hmm.
personally, the most humblest fighter out there, and one of the, but she was a great person. She taught Roxy stuff about Roxy that she needed to hear, hear from her mouth. Like Roxy's an all around one of the best fighters that she's been in the ring with, even if it's just sparring.
No, absolutely. And coming from a multi-division, multi-weight class champion, it means a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And the comment here from K Ross says, "Yo, what's up, Mo? Salute Roxy and Coach G from Albany, New York."
Hey, we
Hey.
were there the other day.
Yes, for the Boxing Hall of Fame, the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
That's awesome. Next question is for both of you. How's a training camp for your upcoming fight on June 21st?
Oh, it's been good. I've been doing good, sparring with undisputed champions. I'm doing 8 rounds, so I'm just conditioning my body to take it another 2 rounds. I've been
Ten
very
rounds.
calm, collective, just staying focused, and the vision is the fight, and I'm not overseeing it. I'm not looking what's next. It's what's now, and I got to go through this fight in order to prepare for my next one.
Great. And as you mentioned, it's going to be your first 8 rounder. Is there anything specific in camp you've been focusing on for the stamina, or you've kind of been ready for
Mm.
rounders?
Definitely stamina. I've been sparring 10 rounds, so it's been a long camp. This is the first camp I've ever sparred 10 rounds,
The first three times she was throwing up after the eighth round.
Yeah, I was like, "Ugh." I was like, but I got that out. But definitely sitting down on my punches, taking my time a little bit more, but still staying active even if I'm not throwing, meaning, waste a shot, whatever, move my feet, footwork, staying active, controlling the ring. So, I mean, for the most part, the only difference is just my sparring a lot more rounds.
Absolutely. And what can you tell us about your upcoming opponent, Celine Roman? Oops, I think they might have got a message or a call. Well, you're back. And we lost them, but they will be back. And they'll see your message, Charles. It's definitely Go Time Roxy on June 21st. Kind from good. I think it says good stuff, champ. Been following your guys' journey for years now. Appreciate you. Thank you for sticking with us. We've been at this for 3.5 years. I started from nothing and slowly been building. So appreciate your support.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
And they're back.
We're
No
back.
worries. You guys get a text or a call?
incident.
No, but I would. Okay, my opponent, she's tough. Right hander, likes to overhand right a lot.
Pressure fighter.
Pressure, but still boxes somewhat. She's 6-3 or 6-2, I believe. So it's a little bit more of a step up, different style, same size as me. Finally, they're not big old giants. Um, so I think it's gonna be a good one. She's tough, tough Mexican, and that's what you need.
Absolutely. There's questions for you, Coach G. Last year you received many Trainer of the Year awards, including our own Female Trainer of the Year, from us. How does it feel to have your name not only in the conversation, but like winning these awards for Trainer of the Year?
I mean, I feel honored. I mean, who wouldn't? And like I said, I put down the plate of cookies and I started, doing the little dance and stuff. But no, it's just great. I mean, I felt very humbled, and I know I belong there with a lot of the other, trainers that have big names. I've worked with several world champions. I've made a five-time world champion, and I don't think, a lot of people understand that it's not just a female, it's just in general when you get there, when you make a world champion. So it has nothing to do with female or male or best female, best male. Like in my category, who else is there? In a humble way, just so I just want to be recognized that about my work, the knowledge that I have, not just she's a female and she's doing it. I've been here for so long, and I'm very excited to see what comes in the future.
Absolutely. And one thing I've noticed, Coach G, with the fighters that you train is just kind of that strong dynamic, that strong bond. Like they seem to all get along and work and train alongside each other. What's kind of the secret to kind of have that strong bond with your fighters?
Well, anyone new that you see come into our camp, we lay down, there's rules, just like if you welcome into anyone's house, you have house rules. And one of mine is being that, kid, I had him since he was very young, a young boy. I have my own daughter. Um, I don't choose any other fighter over any other fighter, but these are my kids. These are mine. And if you're coming into our camp, you got to work just as hard as them, and to get to that level you have to be able to work like that. And like I say, I tell people, like, everyone has a plan, but do you have the blueprint? Do you have the tools? Do you have the hard work, determination? Do you have that foreman at your job on your ass? And a lot of people don't have that.
Well
Some
said.
people see my camp, to some people they depart because they can't handle it, or they're excused, and I'd rather keep a small circle than, like Roxy said, they told Roxy the other day, keep your circle small. She goes, shit, my circle's so small, I almost cut myself off.
Oh,
I
that's
always say
hilarious.
that. They're like, keep your circle small. I'm like, man, I almost cut myself out of
Can't get smaller than that for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, Comment here from Garaje says Roxy up next. That's one badass duo. Facts. And then a question here from K-Rod says, Roxy, would you say your development from the amateurs to pros made you more of a conventional fighter, and you believe lots of boxers don't stay focused on fundamentals at the higher level? And Roxy, I think I lost the audio. I don't hear you. Can you hear me? Let's see. I think we lost your audio. Can you hear me though?
it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So like I said, what part did we finish
The
off
whole
where you stopped?
the beginning, the whole beginning, so to speak.
Okay, so I definitely do believe the amateurs to the pros. I mean, my amateur skill has helped me in the pros, but a lot of fighters, when they do turn pro or when they get to that high level, they tend to stop learning. They get comfortable. They don't want to learn, or they just don't have that, whatever you want to call, spark with their coach anymore, and that's where it all goes wrong. And yeah, like I have to relearn things in order to keep growing, and a lot of times you forget those things, or you're in the ring like, oh crap, like I was practicing this all camp but I forgot to throw it happens, but I would say not to be comfortable. And you have to be, in order to be a well-rounded fighter, you have to be mentally strong, not just physically but mentally want to learn. And I've gotten mental blocks. A lot of high level athletes have gotten mental blocks, but that's where you have to say, look, no, I have the power to change it. It's all in my mind, and you just have to keep growing. Two fights ago, I was just like, I need to learn. I need to learn. I need to keep growing. And now I've opened that mental block, and I've learned to like push through it. And sometimes here and there you want to doubt, but just keep learning. That's all I could say is keep on learning.
Yeah, and speaking of pushing yourself, I did see in a different interview you had mentioned that you're planning on, eventually moving down in weight, going down to 122 pounds and getting a title there. Is the plan to, go down in weight after you win a world title at featherweight, or would that be before?
I want to see what my body can do. I did say that a few interviews ago, but the way I've been looking at my body, I feel like I'm getting a lot stronger in my shoulders. But again, I can, if I do it the right way, start ahead of time. My plan is to maybe win some type of little title or just anything, in the featherweight division. But I want to see who actually in July. I think Ellie Scottney and Yamalith, I believe is her name. They're fighting to be undisputed. So unified. Whoever unified, when is isn't she unified already? She's about to be fighting for undisputed. But with those bouts, whoever has them, I'm gonna be looking at them, and if I can just go win some title there, drop down, because I know Jake Paul loves to fight his fighters with people that are very skilled. He don't care; he'll throw them in there with anybody. So if I'm just like, I'm gonna sneak my way down to 122. Hi, how are you? I'm here. I just maybe get a fight in, and then that'll be eliminator, and then boom, fight for those bouts and and take them. You know, so that's God willing, God first. I definitely want to do 122 and then work
Talk
my
to the
way up
team.
and talk to all my team.
That would be great. And to your point, I think MVP had recently two undefeated prospects with Nat Dove and Nayeli Rodriguez fighting on that card, and they're
Hmm.
doing a lot of big things for women's boxing, which has led to now you guys finally getting the fight purses you deserve and getting that pay compensation. Seeing fighters like Clarissa Shields, Katie Taylor, and Amanda Serrano, getting paid what they deserve, does that motivate you?
Oh, it definitely motivates me. I always say, like, I thank those pioneers that opened the doors before us. Even before them, you had Christy Martin, Ann Wolf, all those women, and even like the kickboxers or even Ronda Rousey for UFC. You know, they helped open the doors for us, and we got to take it to the next level and walk through it. You know, and but first I was really unsure about the MVP. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, Jake's not a box, this, that. But, I really look at it now and, you know, it's good for women. He's putting us on a big platform. He's putting them on Netflix, and that gives me an opportunity. And like with my promoter, Tom, he's well known with everybody and, he's a good man. And I know he wants to move me the right way, and he will get me on that card to fight one of his
Yeah,
girls.
he has big plans for Roxy, huge plans for Roxy, and I think Tom has done a great job. And Roxy's been very active because people sit there and say, "So when is your next fight?" She's, "So actually, I'm fighting in 3 weeks." They're like, "Jesus Christ, you're busy," and that's what our plan was before we sat with to sign with him. He promised us, "Hey, if you want to fight 12 times a year, we'll fight you 12 times a year as long as you're ready to fight." And within a year, Roxy has fought several times, and she's going to get a few more fights in before the year ends, God willing. Everything goes our way, and we stay focused and train hard and work with the team. They have big things for her. They've already offered big things, but we're just taking our time a little. It's the experience. It is what matters. I know my daughter's great. I know my daughter's good, but she's also learning as well, developing in the pros and simple little mistakes. We want to go in there and dominate is what we want to do. We don't want to just go in there and bring a war. And by the time she's 27
Look at
years old,
this.
she's already looking like she's already been through wars. And
Yep.
so we want to make sure we dominate and we look good doing it. And we want to make sure the fans. We already have. She already has a big, huge following fan base, but we want to make sure the fans know who she is to rally up all our people, our raza. And all the Americans, of course, anybody that we can rally up. We want them behind us, and we want her to feel that love, and she fight for her people, her fans.
Absolutely. And then comment here from Sports and Soon says they need to get you on the Canelo versus Crawford undercard.
Man,
And
that's what I said. I think you had posted something of the Turk, wanting to have these
yeah,
fighters, and I was just like, where are the Mexicans? Where are the Latinos? It's Mexican Independence Day a few days after, and you have, like, don't get me wrong, those fighters are all great that he mentioned, but it's like, if you're gonna be in Vegas, Canelo's on the card. At least put those fighters against a Mexican. Like, you need the Latinos there.
they definitely Tom send a message to Turkey. Let's make that happen.
And I see no females either. And I was just like, you know
Nah,
what? I
Yeah.
understand, but at the same time, I don't. Like, we put up a fight. We do. And if I could fight on that card for the title,
We'll
any
fight for a
title,
title
I'll
on our
fight
fifth
for a
fight, our
title.
sixth fight. Yeah,
I'll do it. I will do it.
we got nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Hmm.
Make it for
absolutely.
Turkey.
Final question I got for both of you is just kind of what's a message you want to send to your fan supporters?
We want to thank everyone that are watching us and they're supporting us. Even the ones that are not supporting us, we thank you anyway. And my daughter is here, for a very long time. She's been here for a very long time, and this was not easy. This was not fun. And we have to deal with a lot of excuse my language, a lot of bullshit on the side. And me as a woman, like we've been with the same people um, throughout her whole career, and we're very loyal. She's very loyal. She's very loyal to her supporters. And we hate calling them fans because when we see them, we want to talk to them. We want to smile with them. I see my daughter hugging them and taking pictures, and so she's appreciating everybody that gives her the love. And like I said, we've been talking to people that talk to these other people, and they won't pay attention to us because we're women, and because they're men, they'll 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 take the deal. I'm like, we just offered that deal. It's just we have to go through a lot of stuff. An incident today. We're in the ring. We're fighting in 2 weeks. We didn't. We have to fight
My
for
last
women's.
sparring, by the way.
Yeah, and they put somebody in there who's not even a pro fighter, and we had our stuff on like, hey, we're next, and he's like, get up there, and I just think that was because we're women, but I'm like, no, 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 I demand respect, and it's just certain things that have to change a little, and people, if you can't support more the women in boxing, man, that would be a great blessing to see within a year or two how boxing will change for females.
Like I said, we can fight, and I again thank you to all my supporters. I don't call them fans; it's the Right Hook Roxy family. A lot of them have seen me since the amateurs grow up to who I am now. I'm only 23 years old, and I have a lot more to do and show and prove. Again, I'm not in there. It's not about my opponent; they're just my dancing partner. It's about like what I can do, how far I can go, and I'm only fighting against myself at the end of the day, and I always say like I'm thankful for, thank God all the time and thank my coaches, thank my promoters, everybody. Thank you guys. And, tune into my fight June 21st at the Chumash Casino. It's going to be my first 8-rounder. I'm going to put on a show. I always have themes going on for my fights, and this one's one of my favorite ones that I've come up. I've had this idea in my head for a little bit, and now is the perfect time to put it out there.
So in other words, she's taking credit for this one.
I'm taking. I want to. I'm entertainment at the end of the day. The sport is a very gruesome sport. It's a very hard sport. It's a lot of discipline. But at the end of the day, I'm here to entertain you guys and show you guys the best I can be each fight. And like I said, God first. Thank you all for supporting. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and yeah, your fashion when it comes to the boxing outfits are top notch. So we're looking forward to seeing what you got in
Thank
store for us. Colleen
Thank you.
Response says, thanks to Coach G and Roxy for always showing love to everyone.
thank you for
Thank
having
you
Absolutely.
us.
so much.
Appreciate you.
You
Make sure you
guys don't
follow
go
them.
unnoticed.
Thank you, and everyone give them a follow. You can see Coach G and Roxy's handles here scrolling on the bottom of the screen, and don't miss her fight on June 21st on UFC Fight Pass. Thank you
Thank you
guys.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All
God
right, no
bless.
problem. God bless. Take care.
Bye bye.